June was a shitty reading month for me. How was yours? In the month of June, I read so many books that were just meh. Like, I got to the point where I seriously needed recommendations because apparently I can't choose good books. I guess I would call it like book choice paralysis, if that even is a thing. But luckily my book two friends came in and saved a brother from a reading slump. Because on a real note, it was not looking good for me. So you guys already know how these wrap-ups work. I typically don't talk about all the books I read in a month, but if you guys are interested in me talking about all the books that I read in a month, please let me know down in the comment section down below, and I may listen to your requests. But if I do talk about all the books that I read in a month, do not expect me to give you really great synopsis. And also my thoughts for a lot of these books will probably be like 1 or 2 sentences, because some of these books I just really don't have a ton to say about. But let's jump into the stats for this month. So in the month of June, I read 72 books. 21 were 5-star reads, 10 were 4-star reads, 14 were 3-star reads, 20 were 2-star reads, and then I had 7 1-star reads. And so without further ado, let's get into the books. So up first, I have Burn For Me by Ilona Andrews. And this is the first book in a series that I can't remember the name of. In this book, we follow our main heroine named Nevada Baylor. She is a detective and she is charged with her most dangerous and challenging case ever. Her target is what this world calls a prime, and this prime can basically set anyone or anything on fire. But then she gets kidnapped by Connor Mad Rogan, a dangerous billionaire who is quite a little bit of a sociopath. And in order to solve the case and bring in the suspect, she must join forces with Connor in order to stay alive. And coincidentally, Rogan's after the same target. And then romance ensues. Like, one of the many things that I love about this book is that the characters are so well developed, even the side characters. And with the development of the characters, they really put the romance on the back burner, so it kind of just simmers in the background and just builds to this incredible crescendo as we're developing our characters, the world, and our side characters. And the plot and the world building in this book was just top notch. It is action packed and there are no real info dumps in this book. Ilona Andrews does a great job of giving the reader the information that they need to understand what's going on without detracting from the plot. Next up, I have The Duchess Deal by Tessa Dare. And in this book, we follow the Duke of Ashbury. He has just recently returned home from war and he has a to-do list. He needs an heir, but that is a little bit hard to do when he doesn't even have a wife to start. And everything starts to change when our young heroine bursts onto the scene, Emma Gladstone. She is a vicar's daughter who has since become a seamstress and appears in the Duke's library demanding payment for a wedding dress, or what was supposed to be his bride. And the Duke is very limited on options, so he sees Emma and basically says she will do. And you guys, like, I love this book so much. This is essentially a Beauty and Beast retelling with a marriage of convenient aspect to it. Or is it forced marriage? I can't remember what the two, but there's a marriage trope thrown in there as well. And one thing I love about this book is that the characters were so well developed, especially our main characters, not the side characters too much. I do wish that we got a bit more of the side characters in this book, but I was happy with the development that we had for our main characters. And the humor in this book just lands at every single moment, and that is really hard to do. It is really hard to write humor that lands because everyone has their own particular flavor of humor, and it's hard to write humor that will land with the masses. And also the mixing of humor and steam in this book was just done incredibly well. It never felt cheesy or corny, and also that's just a testament to how strong the writing is in this book, that Tessa Dare is able to manage all these things and make it seem completely effortless. Up next, I have The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa, and this is a sassy, steamy, enemies to lovers romantic comedy about a woman whose new job requires her to work side by side with the best man who ruined her wedding, her ex-fiance's brother. I know, drama. And one thing that I really, not one thing, there was a lot of things that I love about this book, but one particular thing that I really loved in this book was the way the characters were developed. I absolutely loved our main character, Lena. She is extremely petty, and I just loved her character progression, and I loved also Mac's character progression as well. He is the best man. And the humor in this was done so incredibly well. The tone tone was just pure perfection, and I love the representation of Brazilian culture in this book. I haven't seen that in a ton of romances, so I really appreciated that burst of diversity in this book. And then the theme, the writing, and the plot were just all perfection. I loved every moment of this book, and I'm so mad that it took me so long to read this book because it was absolutely perfection. Next, I have the Rake Kiss by Scarlett Peckham, and in this book we follow 3 women who call themselves the Society of Sirens, and they basically want to improve women's rights or gain more women's rights. This is historical romance, and in this particular book we follow one of the ladies, Serafina Arden, and she is a Rakist. And basically she is going to write a memoir about her own scandalous past to secure funds for a new school for women. And then we also have our male love interest named Adam. He is a widowed Scottish architect who's a bit down on his luck and is not looking for love. But these two meet and romance ensues. The main thing that I really loved about this book was the reversal. So typically in historical romances we usually have like the duke and like some eligible lady who's waiting to be married, but we really don't see that dynamic flipped in which the woman is in a position of power. So I really enjoyed that juxtaposition, and I really loved how it turned that trope on its head and made it something new and fresh. And the story, the writing, and the characters were just absolutely amazing. I did see a bit of negative feedback that was lodged against this book, and I completely understand where some of those readers may be coming from. The first half is a little bit on the slower side. It's really kind of building up the characters, the world, and setting up the romance. But everything gets so much better in the later half, but I definitely understand how people may see that initial 50% as a little bit slow. But trust me, if you think that 50% is a little bit slow, it does pay off in the second half. And then finally, I have Kidnapped by the Pirate by Kiera Andrews, and this is basically an MM pirate romance that is also historical as well. So in this book, we follow Nathaniel Bainbridge, and he is a closeted gay man, and he goes on a voyage with his sister, and then on that voyage, he gets kidnapped by pirate and held for ransom. And the captain of this pirate ship is named Hawk, and he has a bone to pick with Nathaniel's father. And the romance is between these two characters. And honestly, I just really enjoyed the book. I thought it was perfection on the theme and story front, and I also just wanted a pirate romance, and this just fit the bill. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Comment down below and let me know if you have read any of these books, and also let me know how June went for you in terms of reading. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you guys with a brand new video. Peace.